Good news, Looper Nation. It's another Resort Loop podcast, special Holiday-thon edition, with your host, Bob and Tim. Or is it Tim and Bob? Anyway, take it away, guys.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Please board quickly and safely. Our monorail will be departing momentarily. Thank you.
Hey everybody, we're back. It's Holiday-thon 2013.
Tim, why do you sound so breathy? What's going on?
This has been a long stretch, Bob.
Not me. I'm sitting clear across the room.
Yeah, the ladies. We've invited our wives on the show today. They're fresh and ready to go. We're just beat down.
This is what? How many in a row is this? We do the math.
612, I believe. I'm not. It's never good in math in school. I don't know. Oh my goodness!
But welcome everybody. This is ResortLoop.com, episode 85. I'm Tim Scott.
I'm Bob Collar. In the middle of Holiday-thon 2013. I'm not so sure we're doing great. I mean, I checked the numbers, Tim, and strangely enough, the Disney Christmas parade beat us numbers wise. More people tuned into that. I don't know.
Really?
I'm thinking that maybe it was just because of Neil Patrick Harris.
That put him over the top. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going for. We got to make sure he doesn't do that next year.
He has a built-in audience. Was the problem?
Our numbers will be through the roof without him.
Yes, they will.
Well, as everyone has heard, our wives are with us tonight because back in October, because we're right on this.
Oh yeah, we're on top of email like you wouldn't believe.
But hey, give us credit. At least it's still the same year.
That's true.
Barely, but still the same.
We're squeaking in under the wire.
That's right. Good listeners of the show, Dawn Herring-Gunther, wrote us a little message on our Facebook page. Said, please do a podcast on spouses that dislike Disney.
What?
Yes, this is a huge challenge when the kids and I love vacationing at the House of Mouse. Does anyone else out there have a hubby that really doesn't want to go? He says, once was enough for him. I could live there. Help with 3 exclamation points. So we've been talking about doing this show. We finally got our wives to agree to it because neither one of them wanted to go, right, Tim?
Well, Dawn had only been there, once with band?
Yeah, with the band, and that was not, your full-fledged, all-out Disney trip. It was a bunch of kids hanging out, riding Space Mountain over and over and over. Truly, that's what it was.
But then we honeymooned there, and then after that, I was always up for going all the time, or a lot. She wasn't so sure, and I know we'd been there probably more than we initially thought we would.
Well, the one reason we kept going year after year was Tim's parents really enjoy Disney, so that's where they like to vacation, and they were willing to go at the same time we went. So we had a built-in babysitter for our kids, and so his parents would, watch the kids, specifically Steven when he was really little, in our room and put him to bed so that Tim and I could go out and enjoy some things together.
Yes.
So that was a big draw for me.
That's a big plus.
It is.
That's huge.
It is to
That's
have
huge.
some alone time, couple alone time. That is nice.
Yeah, we didn't have that opportunity. No. Well, what, Dawn? We'll start with you guys. What was the reasoning behind not wanting to go to Disney every year?
I mostly felt that there's so much in this world to see and do that I wasn't 100% sure I wanted to spend all of our vacation dollars and vacation time at one place. Tim grew up going to Disney. I mean, he was there pretty much from the opening on. And I didn't have a family that went to Disney very often. Like I said, I was a senior in high school the first time I went. And my brother was also in high school at the time, so he went with the band. And my parents did not chaperone, but they took my younger brother and sister and stayed at the same hotel and, gave them the Disney experience as well. And they think they had a wonderful time. But it wasn't in our vacation budget for a family of 6 to go to Disney World. We did a lot of camping and like Washington, D.C. and Virginia Beach and that type of thing. But If we were going to fly somewhere or drive somewhere, it was generally to Texas to visit my aunt and uncle that we didn't get to see very often. But I just didn't grow up there, so it was not a big deal for me. I don't feel like I missed out on anything doing that, because we did other things as a family. And I wanted to make sure my kids had a well-rounded experience, not just a Disney World experience.
Right.
Now, I know Patty, very similar.
Right, yeah.
Her parents didn't do the long vacations, didn't go to Florida.
No. I'm from a family of 7. So much like Dawn's family, loading up the car and driving to Disney World with 7 kids probably wasn't going to happen. It was just cost prohibitive. But we did the camping thing too, Dawn. We had a camper out at a campground in the summer. It stayed there, and that's what we did. I think that you have 2 different types of groups here. You have the person that's never been to Disney, how to get them to go. But what might be more of a challenge is someone who has been to Disney and still says, I don't want to go back. I think that's probably more of a challenge. But from my point of view, I think what's critical for someone who is hesitant about going to Disney is prepping them for it. And prepping them with watching the movies, with watching the vacation planning DVDs. That's huge. Now, when you took me the first time to Disney, I hadn't seen any of the vacation DVDs. It was sort of a spur of the moment, let's stop in here. I was resistant because I was always a beach person. Right. Once I got into my late teens and started vacationing, with friends, and then in college going with friends, I wanted to go to the beach all the time. And so going to Disney was just like, okay, he wants to go. We'll go for a day or 2.
Our story, just to give you the background on that, I know a lot of you probably already know it. We've talked about it in past podcasts, but our background was, our backstory was we had our daughter who was 8 months old, and we went to Daytona Beach. We planned on doing a Florida vacation. In the back of my mind, knew that I was going to take my daughter to Disney World because I wanted to take her to Disney World.
You didn't share this with me.
I did not share this with her. And on the drive over I said, in Daytona Beach, I said, let's stop at Disney. I want to stop at Disney.
Imagine that. Let's just stop. Let's just stop at no one just stops.
We're just swing in.
Right. Okay, we stopped, spend an hour, leave. No.
Isn't Disney World further south than Daytona? Did you kind of overshoot your destination?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
But we were heading toward, the agreement was we'll go over to Disney for a couple of days, and then we're going to the Gulf Coast. We were going to finish out our vacation. We had a 2-week vacation. We were going to finish it out on the Gulf Coast. And so we went over, and from the drive over, if anybody's taken that drive, I know you guys have, it's only about an hour and a half from Daytona to Walt Disney World. We had a teething 8-month-old screaming in the van. So this is not starting out well for me. So,
no.
So I got to step up my game, much like I know Tim had to step up his game. I thought, okay, if we're going to do this, I got to do this top shelf. We got to go all the way. So when we got there, we went over to the Grand Floridian.
Oh, wise
That's
choice.
where we started.
Very good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Grand Floridian was booked. So I said, do you have anything else that's available? And he said, we have the Beach Club.
Ooh.
Now,
that's a very good choice.
I had never stayed at the Beach Club, never seen the Beach Club. I thought, let's do it. So we went over to the Beach Club.
Now, keep in mind, Emily's 8 months old.
Right.
We had recently bought our first house.
Right.
And I'm thinking, is he like growing a money tree in the backyard? Because how are we going to pay for this? And then I just decided, you know what? I'm not going to ask questions. I'm just going
I'm not going to worry about it.
That's a good plan, Patty. Very good plan. Just don't ask. You don't want to know.
Exactly. Right. I didn't want to know.
So we didn't have any tickets. We had nothing. We were just I just wanted to get her there. And then once we got there, kind of see what the mood was going to be. And we ended up getting tickets for Magic Kingdom. We walked around Magic Kingdom. And I believe you said to me, do you remember what you asked me after the first day there?
No.
You looked at me after the first day and said, can we stay a few more days?
Oh yeah.
Aw.
Definitely. Yeah,
And
I was hooked.
I
was
knew
hooked,
I
yeah.
had it because I mean the beach club is fantastic. And you, Tim, where did you take Dawn on your honeymoon? The very first place you guys stayed.
The first place we stayed on our honeymoon. This is a great story, by the way.
Yeah.
Because we didn't go right after we got married. We had to go the next year because she teaches, and that was next time we got
Right.
time
So we
off.
went over my spring break from school.
Yes.
And just by coincidence, my best friend, Tracy, and her family had received a Disney vacation from her in-laws for Christmas that year. And they coincidentally were going at the exact same time we were going. And they were going with I believe, a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old at the time.
Wow.
And so they were also staying at the exact same hotel.
So we checked into the Contemporary.
Oh, that's one of those moderates, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So,
It's a bad location all the way around.
which, we checked in together and they checked into their room and, we were called by another cast member. And this was probably one of the first times at Disney we got some really nice pixie dust, but also sort of really kind of freaked me out. Because I didn't understand. She says, "Oh, you're the honeymooners." And I'm thinking, I didn't tell her that. So I wasn't quite sure how she knew. And then as some nice little pixie dust, they upgraded us to concierge. So we were on the 14th floor with restricted access, which I think made Tim really, really happy. Because although he loves Tracy's children very, very much, I don't think he was looking forward to spending his honeymoon with children, especially somebody else's children.
That's right. Because as we're checking in, they're all going, maybe our rooms will be close to each other.
And Tim's thinking, dear Lord, no.
Oh my
But,
gosh. So yeah, it's a little tough to go back after you had to slum it in concierge.
Yeah, it was really nice that although the boys quickly learned the access code to get up to the 14th floor and they knocked on our door, can we get some cookies? Can we get some cookies? Because there was 24-hour cookies in that lounge. And we made them, well, I did. He didn't make the mistake. He wasn't about to bring them up there, but I did. So they quickly
Smart
fell in
man.
love with the concierge cookies.
So I guess what we're saying is, just out of the box, that very first trip you got to go top of the line.
Yeah, I think so. But you know what else is key too? Is you got to remember, we got hooked on Disney when the kids were little and we could travel in May and September and when there weren't huge crowds. I mean, we never battled
was
crowds
big, yeah.
in the beginning. So if you're trying to get someone to like Disney and to, look forward to it and want it to be someplace they want to go all the time, you really need to take advantage of traveling during those off times when it's not wall-to-wall people and it's more relaxed.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. If you are like me, because we've never been able to take advantage of going at the off-peak times because of my school schedule. I don't have vacation during the school year. As if you are not an East Coast person, in more Midwest, where the schools are out end of May, first week of June, go right then. Because the crowds will still be fairly minimal at that time, although you'll encounter some. But you'll have a good chance of not encountering the blistering heat and humidity that you will in July and August.
Right. I gave this a lot of thought when Tim and I were talking about this, and I think the key to this, really the key to any vacation and making it a positive and enjoyable trip for everybody is you've got to know the people you're going with. You got to know your spouse, and in Dawn's case, not you, Dawn, but Dawn Gunter's case, I don't know what her husband's interests are, but if he's a baseball fan, go during spring training where you can go over to the wide world of sports and catch a Braves game or whoever your favorite team is if they're playing against the Braves. Go check out that. You don't want to take somebody who doesn't like the heat and take them in the middle of summertime.
That's terrible. Don't do that. Don't do that at all.
There might be chafing involved, I understand.
They make powder for that. We do know that. But if the guy happens to be a space guy, I mean, you could take a day and go over to NASA. How cool is that?
Right.
Or even during baseball season, it's not that far to go to Tampa to go to a Rays game.
We did that before. That was fun.
Their stadium is amazing. It's, climate controlled because it's a dome and, it was wonderful. We had a blast going.
Right. And you've got the, both coasts, the Gulf Coast and the Atlantic Coast. If they're a beach person, you've got that. Give them small spurts of Disney, and that will encourage them to want to go longer, I think.
I think you're right there. Is to go for small periods of time and off peak, a little cooler than the summertime, and hopefully they'll have a good time. But I definitely think if you can afford it, go top of the line, stay at a monorail resort or the beach club. We didn't even consider the beach club until one year. His parents had said, we have some leftover points from our DVC, and we'd like to give you guys 4 nights at the beach club. So we stayed in a villa there and just fell in love with the beach club. We love it there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we do too.
One of our favorites, yeah. Disney does so many things now. I mean, you've got, if your spouse or your significant other or family is into Halloween, they've got the big, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. Christmas is huge, as we've just seen. The wine and dine, if they're into food and like to, you can just take them to Epcot and take them to wine and dine. They can kind of have a hotel day, a resort day, while you're hitting the Magic Kingdom or hitting the studios. If they're big Star Wars fans, you got Star Wars weekends. There's so much to do now.
And if they're runners, forget about it.
Exactly. Yeah. If they're runners,
there's something every couple months.
I was going to say every other week, but yeah, at least every couple months. Yeah. So, golfers, we've talked about this. Tim and I talked about this, some of the best golf courses on the face of the planet at Disney. And then, throw in all that surrounding stuff outside of the Disney parks. And, you can have a good time. You can get people excited to go based upon their desires and needs.
You know what I think too? As many times as we've been to Disney and we've, ran around and, we ran our butts off, but I've never felt like it was hectic. And I think that the key to that is, and, I realize a lot of people when they go to Disney, they know this may be their only time and they want to see everything. But I think with us, what kept it from being so hectic is that we were okay to miss something.
Right.
We were like, well, maybe we'll see it in a couple years. Or if your kids are real young, don't feel like you have to go and see, every single thing. I know it's tough to get down there more than once. I mean, for a lot of families, but, if you can space a few years in between and just, just go with the attitude that, we're going to see what we can and not, have that pressure. If there's someone who's reluctant, don't pressure them to just, hit the ground running and go from sun up to sundown and never stop and, see everything because, that's tough.
Right.
And then you get cranky kids on top of that who are tired or hungry or, some of the kids, they're at Disney World and all they want to do is go back to the hotel and swim. That was my niece and nephew. They went this summer and if you ask them, what was your favorite thing? And, they'll say the hotel pool. So, you have to make sure your reluctant spouse is coming, but then you also have to make sure you keep the kids happy because nothing's worse than cranky kids. And then you get a cranky spouse on top of that to say, see, the kids aren't happy. Here we are spending all this money. So if your child wants to take time and, run around in some grass or swim extra long, that's okay. Skip something on your itinerary. Keep the kids happy. Let them do what they want to do and enjoy them having a good time.
Right. Oh, Dawn, you know what? I don't want to go. I'm going to go off a little bit here, but I have to tell you since I'm talking to you.
Tim, you and I can go.
When we were talking about the cruise thing, I have this friend at work, and she has kids a little bit younger than ours, probably a few years younger than ours, but she's done Disney a few times, and they took a cruise last year. She's going to vacation again this year. She's planning a cruise, and she asked her kids, what do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to do the Disney cruise, or do you want to go to Disney World? Hands down, they said they wanted to do the Disney cruise.
Good plan.
Yeah.
That's a good plan. And maybe that's another thing. Maybe, if your spouse enjoys cruise type vacations, even if it's not a Disney cruise, although I highly recommend that, maybe say, okay, we'll take a couple night cruise and then maybe do Disney World, just for a couple nights. To maybe get both of your vacation ideas in.
Right.
But yeah.
But don't you guys have said this to me in the past. you always want to do Disney first.
Oh, for sure. Do Disney before you do the cruise, because the cruise can be as relaxing or as hectic as you want it to be. And we've always chosen the more relaxing route.
Right.
But you can run all over the place doing all sorts of things on a Disney cruise or offshore, or onshore rather, not offshore. Onshore, there's all kinds of active shore excursions. We usually do a shore excursion just about every place we go, just because like I said, it's always been my goal to have the kids experience as much of our world as possible. And not just give them the Disney experience, but I think the Disney cruise does allow me to have my goal in mind to visit different islands or different ports of call, and it still gives Tim his Disney fix that I do think he needs every now and then.
It helps keep me happy, puts me in my happy place.
It does.
They get cranky. We get
cranky.
If it's a long time between Disney trips.
It is, and it's
Don't get cranky. Don't get
We've done Disney cruises the last 3 summers. So we've not been to Disney World into the parks for 3 years now.
Couple, yeah.
So, I don't want to say that I'm missing it, but maybe I am just a little bit.
Yeah, we need to catch up on some things, but
yeah, I think so. But
we'll need to edit out that part where Dawn's talking about it being educational as well, the cruises, because we don't want those kids to know that
Don't tell them that.
there's other motives behind the whole thing.
Oh, the funniest one was we were on the White Pass Rail in Alaska, and we were just getting so much information. It was so wonderful about the gold miners, the gold rush that took place, and it was just a wonderful history lesson. And Stephen had his iPod in, his earbuds in. I made him take it out and listen. Then a couple days later, we were in Juneau, and we went on a whale watching tour, which was absolutely amazing. And they were giving us all kinds of information about the whales and their migrating habits, and it was amazing. And Stephen finally looks at me, he goes, I've learned so much on this trip, think I can totally skip my sophomore year. He was done. But, looking back on those were some of our most enjoyable excursions, were our Alaska ones.
oh yeah, because our kids so far have seen Alaska, they've seen Mayan ruins.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They've
Well,
seen,
even just like Epcot, Emily, who's taken French now, she can't wait to get back to Epcot.
Oh, that would be cool.
Where she can try and have a conversation, because she knows there Snowball's chance and where to go to actually go to France. I mean, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
There's lots of educational opportunities there for the
Right.
kids.
And that's key too. Just someone who may be reluctant to go to Disney, just seeing the joy, trying to remind them, how happy it, made the kids, and to remind them of the joy, that they saw with their kids when they went. And Bob and I just celebrated Christmas with his side of the family, and an interesting story. Our brother-in-law, Bob's sister's husband, they've gone to Disney a few times, and I don't think he loves it. He goes because his wife wants to go and the kids like it. And
I would say he was the anti-Disney.
Yeah, he was pretty anti. But I tell you what. And he's a pretty tough guy. I mean, to even look at me, he's a tough-looking guy. And his heart is melted now because they have a handicapped daughter. And Disney treats their daughter like a princess. And because of that, he will never turn down a trip to Disney World. He's like, yeah, let's go, because he likes to see her being treated so well by Disney. And that's his motivation. That's why he wants to go now.
I think that is wonderful. Disney does do, I think, an outstanding job in helping their disabled guests have an enjoyable experience, and being able to have that experience, with their typical peers or their family. There's so much that they do. There's very, very little that a handicapped person can't experience at Disney.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's every time we decide as a family, okay, where are we going to go? We, as a matter of fact, we were talking about it over the Christmas break here. It always comes back to Disney because they treat you so well. It's just such that you're going to get a top quality resort. You're going to be treated well. If you're going on a cruise, you're going to be treated like royalty. I mean, it's such a good experience every time.
Yeah, there's no gambling involved.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. We did that cross country a couple of years ago, and
Every day was a gamble.
you never knew what you were going to get. Boy, I tell you.
Did we ever mention to the audience that you drove all the way back with no air conditioning?
That was a gamble in and of itself.
Yeah. Yes.
We actually 3/4 of the trip was no air conditioning.
Oh, my goodness.
We got to Vegas as far as Vegas
Oh.
before we even hit California, and the AC went out. So
Oh, my
See,
goodness.
Don and I talked about that. If that had happened to us, we'd
We'd have bought a new vehicle.
a new vehicle in Vegas. We just would have paid for it right there.
I wouldn't have
California
cared.
was a relief. We were like, wow, it's really cool here. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
We love this California.
Yeah, you want to talk about a cranky spouse. We would have either fixed the air conditioning, bought a new vehicle, or Dawn would have flown home immediately. Those would have been the three choices. Traveling without air conditioning would not have happened.
No, exactly.
Not at
See,
all.
I took the opportunity, like you do, Don. I took the opportunity to educate the family on the fact that, hey, look, pioneers crossed in Conestoga wagons.
Oh,
we're
my
in a minivan going 70 miles an hour.
At least there's a breeze.
And there's a breeze. Nice chest. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Well,
At us.
getting, kind of back on the topic, I was thinking that there have been some not so magical moments at Disney, and maybe could also be another reason that a spouse is reluctant to go back, that maybe they did not have a wonderful experience the first time they were there. We went the last time we went? I think my dad was quite ill in 2010 and was having a lot of medical problems. And I really didn't want to go on the vacation. I wanted to stay home with my dad. And he encouraged us, no, just go ahead and go. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. And he is fine to this day. He had surgery. Everything's good. But then we didn't know what the outcome was going to be. And we went anyway because he encouraged us. And it was a trip that was one disaster after another.
Yes,
And-
everybody was anxious. And
Yeah, we were all kind of anxious about, it was my dad, the kid's grandpa. They were very close to him. And we went to 1900 Park Fair for dinner with some good friends of ours that happened to be in Disney at the same time. And they were also traveling with family. So we were quite a large party to have dinner. And they messed up our tables. The hostess sat another party like right smack in the middle of the tables that were all supposed to be pushed together for us. So it was like a 2.5 hour wait. And then we finally did get seated, but we were kind of all spread out. And the waitress then dumped an entire Coke in my lap. And we were supposed to go to the Magic Kingdom afterwards, but I had to go back and change. And there was, at that time, I think they took 10% off our bill. And we're like, whoops, sorry about that. There was not any magical moment at that time.
Yeah.
And it was just one thing after another, and I think we might even have left a day early. I think we said,
we might have, yeah.
I think we said, let's just throw in the towel and go home. And, if you drive, you can do that. If you're flying, you're sort of stuck,
Yeah.
unless you pay a hefty fee to change your flight. But, that could also be a reason. For us, we had been there before. We knew how wonderful it was. And there were outside circumstances that were creating our not so magical vacation. So,
Sure.
you got to give it a try again. Everybody has a bad day. Sometimes cast members had a bad day, and I think they were not having their best day at the restaurant at that time. And although I will say we were staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I just felt very blown off by the people at the restaurant. And I thought, this is not right. And you can't fix something that you don't know is wrong. And I wasn't looking to get anybody in trouble. I wasn't looking for a free meal or anything like that. But I did go up to the concierge at the Animal Kingdom and I told them what had happened. And we were supposed to be with friends of ours at the Magic Kingdom. And, look at my outfit. It's, ridiculous. And they were very nice. They offered to clean it for me, which I declined. I said, no, I will throw it in the washer. It's fine. And they also offered to drive us in one of their personal vehicles over to the Magic Kingdom so we could meet up with our party. But I think at that point in time, we decided we were packing it up and leaving in the morning. And it wasn't any fault of anybody's, just we needed to go. But as a goodwill gesture, they sent up cupcakes for us and like all the sprinkles and icing and stuff for us to decorate our own cupcakes and, wished us a magical trip home. So that was very, very nice. A nice way to end just a disastrous vacation.
Yeah, and like you said, if you have an experience like that, it's hard to go back. It's hard to say, well, let's try it again. But I mean, I would have to say that you definitely would not have that same experience the next time.
No,
Yeah,
definitely.
typically, no.
Our not so great experiences are very, very few and far between.
Oh, absolutely.
Very few.
Not like some of the beach trips we've taken where there have been, let's just call them la cucarachas in the
Yeah.
in the room.
Yeah.
And our daughter at the time, at 5 years old, was chasing the little cockroaches around with the ice bucket, trying to pick them up.
Oh.
You don't tend to run into that at Disney. So
Yeah.
No. Well, our first beach trip and our only beach trip, we decided to try Vero Beach. And Stephen was 3 at the time, I think.
He was a little guy.
Yeah, he is a little guy. And we thought, this is just going to be so wonderful. You know, we get the Disney experience at Vero Beach. They have a wonderful pool, a wonderful beachfront. This is just going to be wonderful.
This is our brilliant parental idea.
Yeah, it was way brilliant. And so we head out that first morning. We're going to the beach. We have our buckets and our shovels, and we're all ready to go out there. And we plop Stephen onto the sand, and he screams and screams and refuses to move. Did not like the feeling of the sand on his feet. And it was our fault. The kid never had a sandbox. We hadn't had a sandbox at that point.
Yeah.
So he had no experience with sand. So we picked him up and tried again. We were trying to stick his toes in the water. He was
nothing.
having none of it.
No way, huh?
Nope.
Yeah.
And we're like,
my
okay.
my niece is like that.
Yeah.
She just can't deal with the sand. Yeah, it's just, kid's not used to it. That's
he hated it. And so we thought, well, let's drive around and see what we can do. There's nothing.
There was nothing there.
There's nothing. This is 14 years ago, though. I don't know if it's built up. We haven't been back. But there was absolutely nothing to do. And so we went to the desk and said, you know what? Our child hates the sand, hates the ocean. I think we're just going to pack up. And we headed right to Disney World.
Yeah. We went there, 2 days early?
Yeah, 2 days. We were supposed to be there for a couple days, and we headed there 2 days early. And I think that was a really good. But, I think that's another thing. If you are not having a very good vacation, that you probably need to stop and regroup and say, what will make this vacation better? Will it be a day in the hotel pool? Will it be, let's get, off Disney property and go to a beach or go to Kennedy Space Center or, something along those lines. Go to a mall. They have wonderful outlet malls and, regular malls not very far from there if you have your own car or, just, what will regroup our family and make it a better day. So
sure. It's the fluids or vacations are supposed to be fluid. I mean, they're to expect them to be everything that you have planned on them being. We ran into that a couple of times with hurricanes. So,
oh yeah, exactly.
You just don't know, especially in Florida. You don't know what you're going to get. But I think that if to get somebody who doesn't want to necessarily go, number one, never show them the credit card bill.
Yeah,
that's a good
I was
call.
going to say there's a lot of pressure
After the
There's
trip.
a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
There when you
They
get
see
to
the credit card bill after the trip, they're never going back. But really, again, going back to that is know your spouse. Know that this is going to be something that you kind of got to help them along with, and let Disney do the rest. The magic of Disney, them making people happy, is what they do the best. I mean, Tim and I just talked about how Yahoo Business just named them the #1 company of 2013, and they do it. They do it right. I think they just do it right. They make you want to come back and allow your significant other the opportunity to experience that, but do it in a way that makes them feel good. Again, know your significant other. I think that's the best advice I can give.
Absolutely. And incorporate something that your significant other, will truly enjoy. Like we've said before, if they're a golfer, make sure they have a day to do that. If they're a shopper, make sure there's a day to do that.
If they're a foodie.
Oh, foodie. Yeah. Or even, honestly, if they're a bowler, you have to experience Splitsville. That, I think, was one of our most favorite days on our most recent vacation.
And who'd have thought bowling? Because we can bowl here, but
it's just a whole different experience. It's wonderful. But, make sure, if your spouse wants to sit by a pool all day, that you give them that opportunity to do that. And don't, run. Make sure that everybody in the family gets what they would like to do. I wouldn't go into it with expectations that, are so incredibly high that you can't possibly match them. And I think that sometimes people, especially that they're going, it's a one-shot deal for them, they go in with expectations that their kids are going to be twirling around on the little grass in front of the castle with Cinderella and Snow White. Right. That doesn't happen.
In slow motion, and flowing just right.
Exactly, and that's not Disney reality. There's plenty of opportunities to meet the characters, but it certainly isn't a one-on-one type experience most of the time.
They're probably not going to be running to the DVC kiosk.
No.
Exactly. Well, I hope that helps Dawn Gunther out, and hopefully she'll be able to get her significant other, her spouse, back down there. Just know what he likes. You know him better than anybody else, and just do a little bit of Disney research. If he likes fishing, they got fishing. If he likes golf, they got golf. If he likes NASCAR, always do the Richard Petty. And give him the time to do the things he wants to do as well. Because it is, Patty will tell you, there are times where we're running around the parks as well as you guys, and you got to stop. You got to say, okay, enough's enough. We got to take a little bit of a break and do the things that you want to do to relax as well.
Or nothing at all.
Right. It is vacation after all.
Yeah, usually one of the hardest things is to maybe get people to realize it's not just it's a small world in Peter Pan's flight.
No.
Right, exactly.
And it's so huge, and you just have to be prepared for it. I would start walking several weeks, if not months before, especially if you have children that will not be using a stroller, is to make sure that they are in good enough shape to endure the amount of walking that is required. And if not, take those breaks.
Yeah, nothing's worse than getting back to your resort with sore feet and you can't barely move after that.
No,
or
that's
shin
not a
splints
vacation.
or whatever. Yeah. Well, Tim, that's all I've got.
I think we had a lot of good information there for Dawn.
Yes, hopefully she'll be able to encourage her husband to go and plan some special activities that revolve around him, that are Disney related, and they can go and have a great family vacation.
Absolutely. If you can, try to get into Ohana.
Yes.
Oh, see, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Plug
You
our
gotta get that
Ohana.
last 2013 jab in, do you?
Got to get it in under the wire. But anyway, thanks, Bob. That's been a great ResortLoop.com episode in the middle of HolidayThon 2013.
I'm exhausted.
I know. Who are we going to get to do the next show with us? I don't even know. Anyway, I'm Tim Scott. You can find me on Twitter at ResortLoopTim. We have a little bit of a website over there, ResortLoop.com.
I'm Bob Collar. You can find me ResortLoopBob on the Twitter, and don't forget our Facebook page /ResortLoop. We got a lot of great information on that. Rate us on iTunes and listen to us on
The Stitcher.
The Stitcher. And don't forget that looper line, Tim.
Area code 414.
WDW.
Loop. And a special shout out to the ladies for joining us today. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
And this has been the Gateway to the Magic.
See you, everybody.